All right. First off, like we would like to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, and we do so in the name of Yahweh Shai. That's the name of the Heavenly Father, and through the Son, who people ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Back for another Sabbath class. All praises for that. Kwam Yasharala. Today's lesson is Ruth Israelite, right? So we got people that teach that Ruth is an Israelite. We got people that read the New Testament and say, hey, it's a spiritual Israel, right? And we asked for an examples of these spiritual Israelites, which are non-Israelites that have became Israelites, right? We get the answer of Cornelius and Ruth. We get these people being named, right? Now, I did a prior class on how Cornelius is an Israelite. You go back and check that. I'm gonna have to go through and put names on the videos. But Cornelius is in fact an Israelite, but we're gonna look into Ruth today, right? Now, Ruth, right? Ruth is not an Israelite, but she got a book in the Bible. How that makes sense, right? Well, go to Google real quick. Let me show you something. Because Ruth was originally part of the book of Judges, and they isolated it because you got to understand Ruth is a heathen. Just go to Google and type in Ruth. Put the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth was originally in the book of Judges. Put that in. In the book of Judges. I done. Yeah, same for it. But this was isolated because you got to understand. In Deuteronomy 7:6, it let us know. It says many believe that the book of Ruth was originally part of the book of Judges, but was later separated the book and made it independent. The reason why it was made independent because you got to understand what's happening in the book of Ruth and in Deuteronomy 7:6. You can get off Google. That's all I need. And Ruth actually comes right after the book of Judges. And the first line of Ruth clarifies that. But we're gonna get into it. But in Deuteronomy chapter 7, the Most High let us know what nations. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7 real quick. And there's a reason. It's Deuteronomy 7, yeah. Verse 3, right? So verse 1 lets you know about all these Hamite nations. And, a lot of our people think we Hamites. Those are actually the nations Most High told us not to marry, right? But verse 3 lets you know that it says, Deuteronomy 7:3, it says, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give to his sons, nor his daughters shalt thou give unto thy sons. Verse 4, that's the point. For they will turn away thy sons from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord Yahweh be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. So when these brothers was marrying heathen women, they let these heathen women got the kids growing up Muslims and Buddhists and Christian. I'm speaking in colloquial terms, new age terms, but these brothers letting the women raise the kids to be anything and they ain't following the laws of the Most High. But the book of Ruth is separated to like, hey, look, we got this heathen woman, but she adopted our practices instead of us adopting theirs. That's the reason, right? But Ruth was not an Israelite, and we finna get into it. Let's go to Ruth 1:1. All right. I think we should read. Let's just read it. It says, because Ruth is 4 chapters. I really think we should read the whole 4 chapters real quick, and then I get the key points. Let's see how fast I can get that in. If I can get that in the time I got allotted. All right, so this Ruth 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days when the judge. So it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his two sons. Now, some people will tell you that they were in the plains of Moab, and that was the tribe of Benjamin's land. But this is not the plains of Moab, because Moab was a country right on the outside of Israel. When we came into the land, we grabbed half of Moab, right? The plains of Moab, plains like the flatland. And then the country of Moab is the other side. So this is not the land of Benjamin, where people try to make it seem like these are Benjamite brothers and sisters. No, this is the country of Moab, right? He and his wife and his two sons, right? So these Israelites went, right, to the country of Moab, right? And the name of this man was Amalek. Not Amalek, Amalek. And the name of his wife was Naomi. And the name of his two sons. So they came from Bethlehem, Judah. Bethlehem, Judah is a city in the southern kingdom, right? So this Israelite man, I'm explaining a lot, not reading. Let me get to reading. And it says, in the name of this man was Amalek, and the name of his wife was Naomi, and the name of his two sons was Malan and Chalon. Euphrates of Bethlehem, Judah, and they came to the country of Moab and continued there. So they left Israel, went to this country. And Amalek, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her two sons. So now it's just Naomi and her two sons. All three are Israelites. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. These are not Israelite women. Not one time did the Bible call Ruth an Israelite. It says, and they took them wives of the women of Moab, and the name of one was Oprah, let's call her Oprah, and the name of the other was Ruth. And they dwelled there about 10 years. And Malan and Chalon died, also both of them. And the women were left of her two sons and her husband, right? So the Israelite men, both of the sons died. Naomi, two Israelite sons died, but they had these two heathen women. And it says, let me read 35 one more time. Malan and Chalon died, also both of them, and the women were left of her two sons and her husband. And she arose with her daughter-in-laws that she might return to the from the country of Moab. So she thinks she's trying to go back to the land, right? For she had heard the country of Moab, how that the Lord Yahweh had visited his people, giving them bread. Therefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her two daughter-in-laws with her. And they went on the way and returned to the land of Judah. And Naomi said to her two daughter-in-laws, go, return, each to her mother's house. And the Lord Yahweh deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead with me. So Naomi said to the two girls, go back to your mother's house, go back to your country, right? Verse 9. The Lord Yahweh will grant you that ye may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up her voice and wept, right? So she telling them to go back to their land, they crying. And they said unto her, surely we will return with thee to thy people. And Naomi said, turn again, my daughters, why will ye go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb, that ye may be your husband? Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. And if I should say I have hope, if I should have a husband also tonight, and should bear us a son, would ye tarry for them till they were grown? Would ye stay with them from having a husband? Would you stay for them having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sakes that the hands of the Lord have gone out against me. So Naomi, like, even if God send me a husband tonight, I conceive a baby tonight, you ain't finna wait till the sons get older and marry them sons. You might as well go back to your country and go get a husband, because the law says, well, we're going to get into that. I just need to get through reading, right? It says, and Ruth said, Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee, or return from following after thee. For whether thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. There, where thou diest, I will die, and and there I will be buried. The Lord Yahweh is so to me, and more also, if I, but the death, but the death of, but the death part thee and me. So she's saying, only thing on part being you is death, right? And when she saw that she was steadfast minded to go with her, she said, she left speaking unto her. So the two went and came to Bethlehem, and it came to pass. So now they back in Israel. And it came to pass when they were come to Bethlehem that all the city was moved about them. And they said, is this Naomi? So all the Israelites, dang, Naomi back. And she said unto them, call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty have dealt with very bitterly with me. So she, her spirit hurt. She think the Most High against her because the husband gone, the two sons gone, right? For I went out full, and the Lord have brought me home again empty. Why then call me Naomi, seeing that the Lord have testified against me, and the Almighty have afflicted me? So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite. Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, the daughter-in-law, with her, which had returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of the barley harvest, right? So that's chapter 1. I got through for that fairly quick. Let's go. It's only 4 chapters, so let's read the chapters, and then we're going to hit the key points once we had a story up under our belt, right? And it says, and Naomi was a kinsman of her husband, and Naomi had a kinsman of her husband, right? So now Naomi done found some of the people in her husband family. And the law says raise up seed of his brethren if they die, right? We're going to get that later. It says that now Naomi had a kinsman of her husband, a mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and the name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him, whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. So Naomi said, I'm finna go in the field and Naomi trying to catch Israelite dude slipping, right? Trying to have a baby by an Israelite. And she said, and she went and came and gleaned the field after the reaper. And her heart was to light the part of the field belonging to Boaz, which was the kindred of Elimelech. So she went to Boaz's field, and she had a little lantern with it, and she worked doing her thing, right? And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the Lord Yahweh be with you. And they answered to him, Yahweh bless thee. And then Boaz said unto the servant that was set over the reapers, who is whose damsel is this? And the servants that was set over the reapers answered and said, it is the Moabitess damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray thee, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came and had laid, she came and had continued even from the morning until now, that she tarried a little in the house. So they said she been working all day, she barely rested. Then said Boaz to Ruth, hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean another field, neither go from hence, but abide here fast by my maidens. Let thy eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go after them. Have I not charged the young men that they should not touch thee? And when thou art thirst, go into the vessel and drink that which the young men have drawn. So he said, hey, you keep working this field. I told nobody don't mess with you. Nobody can't talk with you. When you get thirsty, they gonna take care. You drink from what they basically said, looking out for. Verse 10. And she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, why have I found grace in thy eyes, that thou shouldest take a knowledge of me, seeing that I am a stranger? Right? So she like, why you looking out for me? I'm a stranger. I'm a Moabite, right? And Boaz answered and said unto her, it have been fully been shewed me that all thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thy husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother in the land of thy nativity, the land she's native to. It says the land of thy nativity, and art come into a people which thou knowest not before. So they said, hey, we've been hearing about how you stuck by Naomi since her husband died, and you've been good to her, you know what I'm saying? And then you know what I'm saying. So you done left your father, your mother, and none accepted our stuff. So we looking out for you, right? So that's what they told her. And the Lord Yahweh recompense thy work, and a full reward to be given to thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wing thou art come to thrust. Then she said, let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for that thou hast comforted me, for that thou hast spoken friendly unto thy handmaid, though thou not be like unto one of thy handmaids. Right? So she like, you speaking good to me, but I ain't one of y'all people, right? Then Boaz said unto her, at mealtime come thou hither, and eat of thy bread, and dip thy morsel in vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers, and reached her parched corn, and did eat, and was sufficed and left. Then when she had risen up and gleaned, Boaz commanded his young men, saying, let the glean even among the sheaves reproach her not, and let fall some of the handfuls for the purpose of her, and leave them, that she may glean them and rebuke her not. So they said, be nice to her, right? And then she gleaned the fields into evening, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. So she collected a lot of barley in that field, and she took it up and went into the city, and uh and her mother-in-law saw that she had gleaned, and she had brought forth, and gave her that was reserved after she was sufficed. What I was like at verse 19. Verse 19. And her mother-in-law said unto her, where hast thou gleaned today? And where wast thou? Blessed be he that didst take a knowledge of thee. And she showed her mother-in-law to whom she had wrought. And she said, the man's whom I wrought to this day is Boaz. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, blessed is he be of the Lord. Because you got to understand what Naomi's trying to do. Naomi is trying to raise. Naomi had two sons and her husband. Her husband's name lived on through her two sons. When you raise up seed after thee, when your brother died, you keeping the name going. With now Naomi having a kid, her name stops. So Naomi is trying to have this Moabite girl have a baby for her, so her name keep going. That's what's gonna happen. Well, that's what she's trying to do. But we gonna get into it. But that's what's happening. It says, the man is near kin to us, one of our kinsmen. So that's the whole thing, right? Verse 21, and Ruth the Moabitess said unto her, said unto me also, thou shalt keep fast by the young men until they have ended all thy harvest. So they said, you stay working in that field till the harvest done. Work with all them young men. And Naomi, so she's working in a field with brother, like that's a brother's work, but she's a heathen. She's out there with them doing the work, right? And Naomi said unto Ruth, let her daughter, Ruth, her daughter-in-law, it is good, my daughter, that thou go out with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean out the end of the barley harvest and of the wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. So now she working in the field. She working in Boaz's field, right? Verse chapter 3. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, my daughter, shall I not seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee? Now is not Boaz of our kindred, and those with those maidens thou wast? Behold, he winnoweth the barley tonight in the thresh floor. Wash thyself before thee, anoint thee, and put raiment upon thee, and get thee down. Actually, drop down to verse Scroll down. Drop down to verse 10. He said, "Blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast shown more kindness in the latter end than in the beginning, inasmuch as thou followest not young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, fear not, I will do to thee all that thou hast requirest, for all the city of my people doeth know that thou art a virtuous woman. And now it is true that I am near kinsman, howbeit it is kinsman near than I." So he said, "Hey, it's kinsmen and a family nearer than me. Tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning that if he will perform until thee part of the kinsman, well, let him do the kinsman part. But if he not do the part of the kinsman, then will I do the part of the kinsman, as the Lord liveth, lie down until the morning." Basically, Ruth got sent into Boaz. That's why I skipped it. What are you doing? What are you doing? What verse I yeah. You right. My bad. I'm slucky. My bad. So basically, Ruth tried to come unto Boaz when he got through eating and got through drinking. And Boaz like, hold up. If somebody nearer than kinsman than me, we gonna wait till in the morning, and you gonna go to him. And if he will not perform the duty of the law, then I do it. That's what Boaz told her. Verse 14. And she laid at his feet until in the morning, and she rose up before one could know. And he said, "Let it not be known that a woman came into the floor." And also he said, "Bring the veil that thou hast upon thee and hold it." And when she held it, he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on her, and she went into the city. And when she came unto her mother-in-law, she said, "Who art thou, my daughter?" And she told her all that the man had done to her. And she said, "These 6 measures of barley gave he me, for he said unto me, Go not empty into thy mother-in-law." Then said she, sit still, my daughter, until thou know how the matter will fall. For the man will not be in rest. For the man will not be in rest until he have finished the thing this day. Now, this is the last chapter. Then Boaz went up to the gate and sat down there, and behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, "Ho, such a one, turn aside and sit down here." And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders in the city and said, "Sit ye down here." And they sat down. So now you got a council going. And he said unto the kinsman, "Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth the parcel of land, which is our brother Elimelech's." Right. So she finna sell a piece. Naomi finna sell a piece of land uh uh that's belonged to her husband, her deceased husband, right? And I thought to advertise these, saying, "Buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me, that I may know, for there is none to redeem it besides thee, and I am after thee." And he said, "Redeem it." Then said Boaz, so he was like, "Hey," he got the nearest of kin. He was like, "Hey, Naomi selling a piece of land, but you nearest of kin, you can get it before I get it. So who you want it before I get it?" That's what they talking about, a piece of land that Naomi selling. Then said Boaz, "What day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance." So they said, "Hey, but this field that Naomi's selling, when you buy the piece of land, you got to buy Ruth with it, and you got to raise up seed after the dead brother." So he telling the nearest kin this. Verse 6, and the kinsman said, "I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it." He said, "Oh, I can't do that. You gonna have to do it." You dig what I'm saying? I got my own family over here. I ain't doing that. Verse 7. Now this was the manner in the former time of Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing, for to commit, for to confirm all things. A man plucketh out of his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and and this was the testimony of Israel. So what's supposed to happen was not Naomi, Ruth, when nobody wanted to raise up seed with Ruth, if Ruth was an Israelite woman, she was able to go into the temple in front of all the elders, take off the shoe from the dude that don't want to raise up seed with her. She can, if he don't want to do it, she can smack him with the shoe, right? The girl, yes, her husband died. You supposed to make his name alive. You don't want to do it. Just take off the shoe, smack him with it. But Ruth can't go into the temple and smack him with the shoe because she a heathen, right? So let's keep going. What verse was that? The verse 8. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy for thee. So he drew off his shoe. Then Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, you are the witness this day that I have bought all that was Amalek's and all that was Churons and Molons at the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife and to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead may not be cut off from among his brethren, and the name of the gate of his place, where ye are witnesses this day. Because if Naomi died, all that stuff that was in her family goes to no one. That's why the name got to be raised up, because they got an inheritance. Verse 11. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders that said, we are witnesses, and the Lord Yahweh that make this woman that is come to thine house like Rachel and Leah, to which the two did build up the house of Israel and do worthily in Euphrates, Ephrathah, to be famous in Bethlehem. And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, who Tamar bare unto Judah, the seed which the Lord hath given thee this young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and then he went unto her, and the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the woman said unto Naomi, blessed be the Lord, which have not left thee this day without the kinsman, and the name may be famous in Israel. And he said, and he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, a nourisher of thy own age, for thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than seven sons have borne him. Wow, I don't know what that girl talking about saying that. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse to it. And the women, check this out. And the women and her neighbors gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi. And they called the name Obed, and his father, he is the father of Jesse, the father of David. And these are the generations of Perez. Perez begot Herzon. Herzon begot Ram. Ram begot Amadiliad. Amadiliad begot Nashahan. Nashahan begot Salmon. And Solomon begot Boaz, and Boaz begot Obed. Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. Right? We read all 4 chapters of Ruth, right? I'm glad I did that. I was having second thoughts about doing it. I'm glad I did. Now let's get to the cuts. Go back to Ruth 101. Ruth 101. No. We was Ruth. My bad. I got a speech impediment. Ruth 101. Matter of fact, drop down to verse 14. Now the first cut that we read, Ruth can't. Ruth, you never had Ruth going to the temple and smack the dude with the shoe, because she couldn't go into the temple and do it because she's a heathen. Not one time in these 4 chapters did it call her an Israelite, even though she She keeping the commandment. She done inherited. But let's get it. Let's get it. This verse 14. Give me verse 14. Ruth 1 and 14. It's Ruth 1 and 14. It says, and they lifted up their voices, wept again, and Oprah said, Oprah said, kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave to her. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is going back to her people. So Oprah is going back to her people and into her gods, not big God, little God. These are idols. She going back to her people and her gods, right? These are not our people. These are other people. And return after thy sister-in-law, verse 16. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee or return from following after thee. For whether thou goest, I will go, and whether thou will lodge, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God, my God. So she's saying, F what she got going on. This is the big God right here, not the little gods, one singular, right? Your God gonna be my God. She's throwing off her people, her heritage, her nativity, right? And her people gonna be her God, right? Give me I got right here. I didn't even write it all the way down. Give me Ruth. Give me Ruth 4 and 10. Ruth 4 and 10. It says, moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, that's another cut. It never call her Israelite. I always call Moab or Moabitess. Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Milan, have I purchased to be my wife. When do Israelite women get purchased in the Bible? Never. You can't buy no Israelite woman with no dang on field. Right? Give me Leviticus 25 and 44. You can't buy no Israelite woman with no dang on field. The only thing you got is a dowry, and you give that to her for a virgin. But there's no purchasing a woman, an Israelite woman. This is Leviticus 25 and 44. Both thy bondmen, slave men, and thy maids, slave women, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathens that are round about you. Hey, Moab was right next to Israel. Round about you. Of them shall you buy bondmen and bondmaids. Of them shall you buy. Verse 45, moreover, of the children of the strangers that sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families shall that are with you, which they beget in your land, they shall be your possession. Just like that field, you got to buy with the field, right? And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule over one another with rigor. So that's a cut. You ain't buying us with no field. Give me Ruth chapter 4, verse 16. Let's get another cut. This is Ruth chapter 4, verse 16. It says, and Naomi took look, Ruth had the child. As soon as she had the child, she stopped being mentioned in her own book. It's the Naomi book for the rest of the way. It says, and Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. And the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi. Who did it say this child was born unto? Oh, so the baby got took from Ruth and it's Naomi baby. Who babies do Israelite women get their babies took and get given to another people? Because this baby is an Israelite. It's not a Moabite. That's Naomi baby. But where is this president in the Bible? Let me finish out the verse. And then the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Give me Genesis chapter 30, start at the top. We finna see this happen again. Same example. And when Rachel, I remember Rachel and Leah, right? And Rachel couldn't have kids, right? She was barren. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, well, she eventually had 2 children. But at this point, her womb was closed. It got opened up later. But Genesis chapter 30, verse 1. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, because you got to understand, Jacob having kids. It ain't his fault that, Rachel going through that. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, am I in God's stead, who have withheld thee from the fruit of thy womb? He said, look, it ain't my fault. God did that to you, right? Verse 3. And she said, behold, my maid Bala, whatever her name is, go in. So she like, all right, but I got this slave, right? And she said, behold, my maid or slave, Bala, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I also may have children by her. She said, hey, I got a slave. She gonna have my babies for me. Like a surrogate mother, as soon as the mother had a baby, she pushed out the picture. That's the context. You dig what I'm saying? She said, verse 3, and she said, behold, my maiden Pahala, whatever her name is, go into her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. So they'll go now. Go back to Ruth 4:16 17. Let me read that again. Same exact thing, right? Boom, boom. Actually, that's the crux of my argument, right? 4:17, and the women of her neighbors gave her a name, saying, this is a son born to Naomi, right? Not born to Ruth, not the Moabitess, right? The whole thing was for Ruth to raise up seed so her husband and her son name can live on. That baby is not a Moabite, you are what your father is, right? So this is not a story about a great heathen. That's not this, right? And this is actually my cut to spiritual Israel. People say, hey, if you take hold of the covenant, a heathen can take hold of the covenant and follow the laws of God, and they become an Israelite, the new church. I say, hey, can you show me one? They say Ruth. Hey, Ruth was never called it. She not only did she keep the law, statutes, commandments, came into the land, everybody liked her. She even had an Israelite husband twice, and she still ain't called an Israelite, right? And that's my lesson for today. It was short but sweet. That's all I got. And with that, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh. And I do so in the name of Yahweh Shai, Kwam Yasharala, and Ashor Hanakia. Happy dedication.
Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam
Kwam
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Kwam
Kwam
Yasharala.
Yasharala. Kwam Yasharala.
Ashar Halakia.
That